So, what's the nature of youth in revolutionary America? The young men stand at a peculiar point in their lives. Clearly, they're not children, but nor are they proper adults in the eyes of society. 18th century colonials would not have recognized the modern concept of adolescence or let alone teenaged rebellion. These are later ideas and constructs. However, they do express, in the 18th century, an awareness of this group, and they hold expectations for their path to full maturity. A sermon described this period of life as a choosing time, a fixing time for young people. Choosing occupations and marriage partners, this minister declares, was indeed the work of your youth. For boys, the path is clear. In their teens through their mid-20s, they labor for their families, they hire themselves out for wages, they undertake apprenticeships. An elite handful attend college. This is the time of life in which they should obtain the tools and resources necessary to get a farm, start a trade, build a profession, to obtain the competency to marry, support a family, and stand as a full adult member in their community. As Zuriel Waterman's fortune teller suggested, their communities define full adulthood through social role and relationships, not merely by looking at biological maturity or counting chronological age. How then does youth intersect with military service in the American Revolution? Young men, marginal, unmarried, without property. These young men face a double deficit. Their adulthood is pending, and their masculinity is incomplete. Ideally, they would leave these shortcomings behind in the normal course of their lives, but perhaps, war could offer them a faster path to respect and to competence. Military mobilization targets young men at a particular moment in their lives. Soldiering promises economic compensation that will lay the foundation for future independence while offering immediate rewards of social utility and fraternal respect. And those three things, those three legs are the legs of the stool of manhood in early America. Social utility, fraternal respect, and economic competence. That's what a teenager doesn't have. That's what they still don't have. Part of the significance of examining the Revolutionary War from the perspective of young soldiers lies with the demographic reality of British America. Most of the people living in it are young. Half the population is no older than 16. These young people share a different perspective on the upheavals that surround them from their elders or the bewigged elites. Most obviously, a war that begins in 1775 dominates their progress towards full adulthood. Consider these two examples. A Massachusetts boy who was born in 1755, roughly at the beginning of the French and Indian War, would have spent his formative years hearing news of the Stamp Act, Townshend duties, the destruction of the tea, the intolerable acts that destroyed self-government in his province, the Continental Association boycotting English goods, and as Patriot committees mobilized militarily in 1775, he would have been approaching the formal age of majority, 21. Statistically speaking, however, he's still about 5 or 6 years away from marriage. He's an expendable young man. He is the obvious choice to send to war. Second example, let's say a Virginia girl born in 1763, the last year of the 7 Years' War, the last year of Britain's Great War for Empire. She would have heard the news of the British surrender at Yorktown before her 18th birthday and could have watched her younger brother march off as a hired substitute before the final ceasefire in 1783. Across their adolescence, the war, the revolution would have been inextricable, bound together in a way more obvious than perhaps for some historians today.